so much for being with me. I hope I'm finding you in a wonderful time in your lives. I'm sending you all my love. I thought I would maybe talk about a couple more personal things. This week I was encouraged by a couple friends of mine. We were talking about some things that happened in the past, and I was trying to come up with things to talk about for the videos, and they had mentioned that maybe sharing some of this stuff. So I thought maybe I would tell you a little bit about my backstory and just kind of some of the stuff that I've went through, and hopefully if you're going through the same thing, hopefully it can help you too. And it's kind of all centered around the idea of your horizon, your adventure, as you seek and you drive it to your horizon, your dreams and your destinies, and kind of how, I found that definitely things changed for me along the way, and I've learned a lot of different things, lessons from it all, and I thought I would give you a little bit of my backstory, and hopefully it can help you if you're going through the same thing, or if you have gone through it already. So I started out always loving music, always, kind of it being the center of my universe. And I started out with piano, and I had the most incredible teacher, and to this day I'm lucky enough to have him in my life. And he was the one that taught me how to feel music, and how to love music, and that kind of just set in motion the different courses and roads that I've been down from there. And so kind of around that time I had discovered the electric guitar, and so I became completely enamored with it, and I really wanted to be a rock star. So that was kind of my whole dream one day when I was a kid. And so I asked my parents if I could, start taking lessons and learning, and they wanted me to start with classical guitar before I could get my hands on electric. So I started taking classical lessons, and I fell in love with it, and I kind of unexpectedly just started then pursuing that, and it kind of became, from that point on, sort of a course that I was on, and it kind of became a big part of my identity, and kind of what my universe was my own little universe was surrounded by at the time, and centered in. And so while this was kind of all happening and going through high school, and I discovered heavy metal, and that kind of completely awoken the rock star dream that I had ever since I was little. And so, but it was something that I kept very kind of to myself, and because it was very different than classical, so I kind of liked to keep it secret, and kind of just for myself, because it was very special, and I kind of liked to enjoy it. Finding heavy metal and kind of diving into that world, it really gave me kind of an imaginary place, and kind of a place where I could live in my head and kind of run wild with all the things that maybe I had kind of never thought of or suppressed, musically, or just in life in general. It just kind of gave me this wonderful escape, and so I studied that kind of through high school, and but again, it was kind of I studied that through high school, but it was very much kind of in the back, took a back seat, along with anything else other than classical guitar. So my focus kind of was very, very kind of lasered in on classical guitar and kind of what that course would then become. For high school, I was able to go to an arts high school, and it was a very, very loving atmosphere, and it felt very much like family. And so when it was time to go to college, it was kind of a sort of a predestined path as a classical guitarist, where I would go to school and then hopefully get a master's degree after that, and then teach, and on the side try to perform in different recitals and things. And so with that, I had started college, and now looking back and in hindsight, I kind of realized that from the very first day, something didn't feel right. And I was going, and ultimately what started happening was every morning I would take the train because I commuted. I would cry when I had to leave my mom, catch the train. And after a semester, I really realized that, something just doesn't feel right, and so I wanted to drop out of school, and I felt like I didn't fit there, and I talked it over with my dad, and he was really upset, so I kind of struck a deal that I would finish out the year and then find a new school to go to the next year. So with that, I had to tell my teachers that something wasn't feeling right. I think I'm going to leave. And at the time when I talked about it at first, it was kind of immediately sort of shut down, and kind of for the rest of the year just sort of brushed under the table, and kind of was this big elephant in the room for me, because I knew I had to make a change, but it was never really brought up again. So I finally had to explain that I was going to leave, and it was going to be a hard choice, but I had to try something new. And unfortunately, at that point, I was kind of shut out of their lives, and unfortunately, they never spoke to me again. And I know I really, really disappointed them, and that was really, really hard to feel, and to know that I'd let them down so much. And I had a couple different opportunities and commitments in classical guitar that I really wanted to pursue before I kind of began the next chapter. And so one of them was going to Italy to study with my favorite guitarist, and that was kind of right around the same time when I had to tell my teachers I was no longer going to come back to school. And so I can remember being really scared going, because I kind of was going there unprepared in a way, because I no longer had schooling or teaching. So I had to kind of do it all myself, and with the help of my family. And also when I got there, I was really nervous that they wouldn't want me there, because I wasn't going to go back to school, and I was making all these changes, and I didn't know, I knew I had let my teachers down so profoundly. I didn't know how others were going to react to it. But sure enough, the teacher could not have been kinder to me, and opened his arms wide, and taught me incredible lessons, and filled my imagination with wonderful stories to play my music to. And it was just an incredible experience. And then the final night, I got to perform in the last recital, and so we were all, every student was performing, after the recital, we were going to go out for pizza. It was going to be this great time, and right before then, another guitarist who was very well known and was able to see the recital came up to me and told me that I couldn't play the music that I played in the recital, that I wasn't good enough, the technique wasn't good enough. I had to learn other music, and I really felt like she was implying that I don't have the right to play the music that I was playing. So that kind of was really difficult, because what had been a really transformative experience and wonderful time, and it really sort of got a little bit side railed by kind of this sort of little explosion at the end, and so it was kind of really hard to end that sort of chapter and that sort of classical side to myself. It was really hard to end it kind of on a bad note, but I was really looking forward to the coming year, because I had decided to pursue heavy metal guitar. So that was really exciting, because it was a real whole new territory for me. And so I went to school, and I think one of the biggest things, though, when I was going to school now to study electric guitar was I just started to write music on the side when I was every chance I was at home. So it kind of provided me this new imaginary world now for myself. So I kind of wrapped myself a little bit in this bubble while I was there playing guitar and then writing music, and so it was very much an imaginary place in my head, and a whole world that I'd created, and I found a lot of comfort there. But then suddenly, my mom had gotten me for Christmas and my birthday a computer and software instruments, and that totally changed my life in the course of my own path. And suddenly I had these new tools, and I came home from school that summer, and all I wanted to do was write music. And so I spent the whole summer learning and trying to figure out how to use the computer and how to record, and trying to understand the language of it all. And I was having an absolute blast. And then as the summer kind of dwindled down and it came time to start thinking about going back to school, I was going to school out of state at the time. So when I had started to wake up crying every morning, and it was kind of like the same. It's so kind of kismet almost, because it was the same reaction that was happening when I went to school the year before. And so something inside was telling me that something's off, something's not right, and I realized that I didn't want to go back. I loved writing music. I loved being able to do this. This is what I really want to do. I finally found it, because I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what I was looking for. I wanted to be a rock star, and kind of tried that through classical guitar and then through heavy metal, and then finally realized that it was through writing my own music that was the rock star that I wanted to find. So I with the love of my mom, I was able to just make a decision that I was going to stay home. And I remember telling my dad, and that was a really huge, tough thing to go through, because that kind of made it for shaky ground for quite a long time after, because I was no longer pursuing my education, and I also know I had let down other people around me, kind of ending that side of my schooling and kind of taking things into my own hands. And so for a while, I was on shaky ground in terms of feeling that I had let a lot of people down, and but kind of what I hope I'm not bringing you guys down with all this. It's certainly not what I wanted to do. I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of what happened, so I could sort of share that. Now I realize that the people that you let down in life, when you're chasing your horizon, I think are the people that are claiming your destiny as their own. And the people that really love you, they will love you no matter what you choose to do, and they will love you even more for being yourself and for choosing your own dreams and for living them and dreaming them and imagining them. And so, you know, if you, even if people that you love kind of don't understand what you're going through and kind of don't understand this horizon that you see in your brain, they will come around too. Give them time. I know that kind of I had to kind of be a little bit patient with that because I really wanted to please everyone around me. But you know, the ones that love you and understand, they'll soon understand that, you know, you're happy you're following your dream. And another thing I was thinking of as well was that, you know, there are many colors to your horizon, and don't be afraid to, you know, try different things and for the colors to change. You know, I learned that, you know, I was very much on this sort of predestined sort of course, and I realized that really wasn't for me, and that I didn't know what the colors were going to be in my sky. I was just trying a lot of different things, but trying those different things, finally I was able to find something that settled in me and that felt right. And so, you know, even if you're kind of on sort of a shaky territory, trying to, you know, understand what feels right, you know, don't worry that, you know, if you haven't quite found it yet, you'll find it and you'll feel it when it's there. And it'll give you so much goodness, you know, and just hang in there. And my heart goes out to you guys. If you're, you know, going through this, if you feel like you're letting people down, please know that I believe in you and that I am sending you all my love. And just, you know, chase after that horizon, you know, find the colors in the sky and just have a blast and kick butt. I feel so high, but I'm looking at